Well, hello everyone. I thought it was a long overdue time for me to make a long form video. I've been putting out some shorts here lately. They're quick and easy, but I need to get off my lazy bum and make some real content. And today I found something worth making some content over. Thank you to RichieRichOverdrive. You can find him on YouTube and atltf.com. I believe he's also on Facebook, but if you go to his YouTube channel, all of his links are there. And I will put a link to his channel and also a link to his video about this locker in the description of this video. But what we have here is a locker, or as I like to call it, a mini spool for a 633A. A Roper 633, Peerless 633. I've heard both. I believe they originally made by or for Ropers, and then somewhere along the way Peerless picked it up. But anyway, you know what a 633A is, then you know what I'm talking about. It is a heavy-duty garden tractor transmission. It's got 1-inch axle shafts. But up till now, if you wanted to lock one up, you had a couple of options. You could weld it up, weld the gears to the case. You could do a moose knuckle, which required extra parts, I believe. I think 1 or 2 extra differential gears. But as I learned by doing my research, always do your research when you're doing something like this, but I did all the research I possibly could. But the moose knuckle method is not very strong. Well, this right here has got to be the strongest way currently to lock a 633A. I don't know if anybody's done a dock locker on a 633A. I haven't seen one, but to my knowledge, this is the strongest and, by the way, easiest way to lock a 633A. Got some nice thick parts here. Got 3 of these, and we'll show in detail as I install this how all this goes together. But just real quick, I don't know if you can see here on the table, but roughly that's the way it's going to assemble. But we'll show it in great detail here. I also picked up one of RichieRichOverdrive's pulley bushings. A 633A has a tapered input on the input pulley. Well, with this bushing, you can use a standard pulley with the correct size bore. And I don't know off the top of my head what that is, but when we get to this part of it, this will probably be a separate video. I'll know by then what size bore to use. But both of these items right here shipped to my door was, I believe, right around $102. I think he asks $75 for the locker. Oops. $15 for this bushing. So that would be, my math is correct, about $90, and then $12 shipping. Sounds about right, $102. So very reasonably priced. So that's why I went with it. I did pay for this. Richie Rich is not sponsoring this video. He did not send me any free stuff, didn't give me any discounts. I'm just doing this review because I feel it is a great product. So let me get the transaxle over here on the table and the differential. I've already got it all apart, and get you set back up at a different angle, and we'll move forward with this video. Alrighty then. Alright, we are back. We got the differential already out of the 633. I did this about a week or so ago, and I just kind of put it back together with a couple of bolts just to keep it, keep the dirt out, safe storage, whatnot. There are other videos out there that show you how to take one of these apart. I did not video the disassembly. As you can see, I did quite a bit of cleanup work on it. I'm going to do even more because I want to paint this before it goes back in. If you've seen a couple of my other my short videos, I am in the process of repainting the frame, making it look nice. There was a lot of rust on this tractor, but that's a whole nother subject. But I had to split the case to get this assembly out, and that's how we got to this point. So let's just kind of push that off to the side. One key thing on these is this washer right here. This flat side goes towards the bull gear in this case, or on this side it goes towards the differential, but you see how it sticks up? That's important. So I'm just going to set this aside, and we're going to put this down this way. That's good enough, I think. So yeah, let's go ahead and see about getting this apart. Yes, that is what they are. I'm going to take this other piece off as well. Keep those together. Off to the side. And I decided that that was, yes, a 9/16, so 14 millimeter. I have mostly metric tools. Got some standard where I absolutely have to have standard, but 30 plus years ago, when I started out as a mechanic, I started out at an Acura dealership. Acura, same thing as Honda. All you need is a 10, 12, 14, 17, and a 19, and you can go to town. I don't know if you see, but you see how the differential gears are walking around? That's because at the moment this bottom shaft is stationary. In order for this top shaft to spin, all of these differential gears kind of have to dance around each other. That is what we're going to eliminate. We're going to eliminate the ability of this axle to turn separately from this other axle. When you do this, you no longer do the one wheel peel, you get to do the two wheel peel. Oh, okay, we got her apart. In between each one of these gears is this little pin. You're going to need to save those. I don't think we need those little bushings or whatever they are. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. We should have ended up with 6 of these. 3, 4, 5. I am missing one. Oh, there it is. 6. Okay. So, went and re-watched Richie Rich's video on assembling this, and he recommends using green Loctite, so we're going to incorporate that. I think we're just going. The nice thing about this locker is you've got contact all the way around, and if you watch Richie Rich's video, he explains this. But I think that's the problem with like the Moose locker, is you only have a few teeth in contact in a couple different places at any given time. But this gives you even contact all the way around the gear. Okay, and that is a tight, snug fit. We're going to take one of these gears, get it to spline up, and we're going to turn it until it lines up. Okay, and then we're going to put these standoffs here. Get a couple of them in here, I think. Now, I was not familiar with green Loctite, so I read up on it, and it's more of like a wicking Loctite, or it's picking like wick, and it's good for assemblies, like pre-assembled stuff. So what we're going to do is drop a little bit in here. A few drops on here. A few drops there. Just a little bit. We'll drop these on here with just a little bit inside. Okay, that should be good. We'll drop another plate on here. Yes. We'll do the same thing. We'll stand it up like this and just put, oh, that's way too much. And then we're supposed to drop the next gear in. Turn it a little bit. Just kind of spread the joy, spread the love. Okay. We're going to call that good. I know a little bit more. Okay. Call that good. And now this plate will go on. I believe that's the way it goes. Yeah, it goes that way. And then what we're going to do here is, I guess we'll put like a drop or two on each one, slide it through. Okay, call that good. And a bit of a mess. We're gonna dry these nuts. These nuts. This stuff anymore. All right. Good and assembled. Now we'll take our red Loctite. Okay, we are going to call that assembled. And as you can see, there is very, very little. I mean, there's just a hair amount of backlash. It's pretty tight. But that is what it looks like all assembled. We're going to torque these bolts down. I don't have a torque specification, so I'm just going to go with tight. I got my 3/8 torque wrench here. It's not so important the number you use or the rating you use. It's that you apply an even amount of torque. So I'm going to start with 35 foot-pounds and see how that feels. Seems like about what it should be, maybe. Oh, that's good. That's tight. Let's back that down a little bit. Let's go down to 30. Let's see how 30 feels. Oh, still tight. Let's take it down to 25. There it is. That's 25 foot-pounds. All right. I don't know if we're going to go any tighter than that because that felt pretty tight. I could maybe add a few foot-pounds, but there we go. That is a solid unit. Let's put it in the case. Okay, when you go to split one of these, this is where the input pulley goes. Okay, I've got the pulley off and I've got the keyway in a safe place. But you want that side down. Okay. And this is not going to stay because I don't have the axle shafts in there, so we're going to use our block of wood once again. That'll work. Okay, let's take care of that real quick. Find where that went. You take these apart. Any of these washers come off, you want to make sure you catch it. I didn't see this last time I had it apart, but this pinion gear, the gear that turns the bull gear, seeing a little pitting on it. Not enough to really worry about. Okay. Now then, to get the differential out, I had to remove this gear right here. And then I had to raise this one up enough to fish this guy out of here. Pull it all the way out, but I might just go ahead and do that this time because I've got a new seal to put in there. Got enough room to wiggle this gear out of here now. We'll put that down there. Okay. Now I should have plenty of room. Before I do that, yuck. Inside of this case has some nastiness to it. Yeah, this may be turning into more than I wanted it to. So let me come over there and grab you. That's what I did to my finger the other day. Took a nice little chunk out of the nail, and then I did that. Both of those happened with that damn flap disc. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see this last week when I first took it apart, thinking there was more oil and it was hiding this stuff. So I guess we're going to take this all the way apart so I can clean the case real good. Like I said, this is your high-low range selector. Got a new seal for that. I got new axle seals. Ooh, excuse me. So I'm going to pull this out anyway. Let's just take a good look at how everything goes in here. Let me pause you for a second. Okay. But at this point, if I weren't going to move forward doing all this extra work, I just had this one shaft pick up here for me. Let's just go ahead and see what's going on here. All right, that assembly come out pretty easily. I'll set him down over here. Get this block of wood out. Yuck, just like that, I'm already nasty dirty again. I think we're going to stop the video here for a minute. I'll get this all cleaned up and then we'll resume the installation of this differential. As you can see, got this transmission pretty clean. I've had it all the way apart. Every single gear off every shaft and cleaned it and cleaned every little crevice in here. I'm not ready for final assembly, but I'm going to assemble it, kind of dry assemble it if you will, just for the sake of the video. So this is where you'll be. If you're just locking your differential, this is how far into this you'll be. Maybe not even this far. I went ahead and took the high-low assembly completely out, and I'll show you why I think some people struggle with this. But I've got it all the way out. But when you're at this point right here and you're ready to go back together, the first thing to go in is your differential and axle assembly. And once again, here's that nice, beautiful locker, courtesy of RichieRichOverdrive. This goes with the nuts. If you put the bolts back in the same way they were in, the nuts go down, or this bull gear goes towards the bottom. Don't forget one of these washers. The flat side goes up towards the differential. I like to just go ahead and put it in the case and then gently start the axle. Now I have a hole going through my table to facilitate this. That's why it, looks so easy. Now that's done. The next step is you've got this shaft with what I call the pinion gear or the drive gear. This is what drives the bull gear. And this top gear right here, go ahead and take that off. Then there's a spacer. It can stay where it can go. Now, every shaft in this transmission has these little flat washers on the top and the bottom. So you got to find the one that fits your shaft, and this one fits right here. So make sure you got the washer in, line it up with bull gear, boom, that's done. Now then, this is why I think people struggle with this high-low assembly. You got your shift fork with your little detents built into this fork right here, and this is your actual shift shaft. Now this is a very tight fit into the hole that goes through the case, and it is a hole because remember, this shaft comes out through the outside of the case, and there is a seal in there that I'm going to change here later. But when you go to take this apart, just like the axle shafts, you want to clean up this shaft as good as you can. And then once you have it out, I don't know if this holds true for every model of 633A, but on this one, this shaft unscrews from the shift fork. And I was able to take this over to my wire wheel that I have on my grinder and clean it up real good. Then I took some 1000 grit sandpaper, and even with that, it is still a tight fit through that shaft. But once again, you want to find the correct washer for your shaft. That one right there. I'm going to go ahead and put this down in the case. Okay. Now as I drop this down in here, line up that shift shaft selector first. And you just kind of have to wiggle it. There it goes. And voila. We are now engaged. Okay, as you can see, right now, nothing happens. I can turn these gears, I can turn the input. Well, the input's in neutral because both our shift forks over here are in neutral. But our differential does not have any power going to it because that's where this gear comes into play. Drop that down on there. Oops, that just finally moved a little bit more. Now, as we move these gears, you can see it starts turning the differential. But there we go. And then washer goes on top of this top gear. And then another one of these tanged washers goes there. And at this point, we're ready to put the case back on. Seal it up, put the case back on, and go have some fun with it. But I'm going to be taking this all the way back apart to clean it some more and replace some of the seals and what have you. But this concludes this video showcasing the drop-in locker assembly from RichieRichOverdrive. I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll catch you next time. And toodles! Yuck. Okay. hate getting dirty. Then why'd you become a mechanic? Because I'm stupid.